Hello, everybody, and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for passing by. Thank you very much for subscribing, and thank you very much for watching my videos. You are greatly appreciated. Now, I see that it is the election season, the election fever is in the air, and so many persons are gearing up to cast their vote. So many persons are gearing up to cancel their vote. Many persons are also gearing up to not support either party. Okay, we have also seen wherein the opposition party, that's a PNP, had launched a protest against the ruling party, which is the Jamaica Labour Party that's in government, who had also launched a counter protest. And we saw wherein it became what you call a fiasco. It didn't turn out well. It was just a big bomb, and it was just alarming. And many persons were shocked, shamed, and mortified when they saw what took place in the protest. You know, persons were asked about the reason for their protest, of which they could not give a solid response or one that even begin to make sense. Many persons were asked, why are they protesting? What is the FID all about? They don't know. Why do they want Dennis Strong to be removed? They're saying that he's not fit. Why do they think he's not fit? They can't speak on it. What does the FID mean? They don't know. However, they were out there to protest because they were told or paid to do so. And, you know, it's a sad situation. And we understand that these are older folks, but it also speaks on the high level of illiteracy that's plaguing the island. Because clearly, if you're going to have a protest, you have to inform persons whether they're being paid or whether they're doing it out of utmost good faith, which means that great conscience and honesty and decency that they will be using to launch a protest. You would think that they would come out and they would speak and inform the mass of the people what their reason for protesting will be and explain it to them. However, there are persons out there who enjoy the degeneracy of the island. And I realize that in every field, both in entertainment, in politics, there are persons out there who benefit and profit from the illiteracy, from the degeneracy of the mass of the people. Now, I have a question that I want to ask, and I've seen so many things that is going around. I remember that a lot of persons used to watch my channel, and many of them stopped because I did a video and I said that I did a video, I think it was last year or 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I think I did the video. And I said that I would not vote for Mark Golding or support Mark Golding because I do not know what his fundamentals are. I do not know what his ulterior motives are. It's not made known to the public. And so I wouldn't see the reason to support someone blindly that I know absolutely nothing about. I don't know what his ulterior motives are, what's his vision, what plans, what agenda he has, and what fundamentals exactly are will he be pushing. And so many persons were offended. Many persons didn't like it because they believe that because they cater to stupidity and believe in staying in darkness, everybody should share the same sentiment. And because you don't and you're independent in thought, it becomes a problem for others. Now, when I look into the situation, there's a particular question that I want to ask. There is Isaac Buchanan, who is an attorney, and he represented Vibes Cartel in the latter end of his appeal, and they won. They threw the case out in when it referred back to Jamaica and stuff like that. So there was great success in which Vibes Cartel was released from prison, right? He's also running for a seat in Portland, I think. Isaac Buchanan is running for a seat in Portland. Now, Isaac Buchanan, for those who may not know, is a two-time convicted drug dealer. And we believe in persons, you know, being rehabilitated, persons who have made amends with their past, who have moved on, who have grown from it. However, this is a person who is two-time convicted. And I'm looking into the situation and I'm saying, is the person really convicted, or is another opportunity for them to master whatever it is that they were incarcerated for? Yes, he became an attorney. It's not like he was an illiterate or he was a dunce or he was an uneducated person prior to his convictions. No, he was not. You understand? So him being an attorney comes to as no surprise to me, because this was not a guy who was uneducated, like I said, poor, seeking an opportunity, had 3, 4, 5 kids, had a relative who had cancer, that he was taking a risk in order to alleviate the problem that they're having. Nothing was like that. So when we look into the situation and the mass of the people decide that they're going to forgive him, my question is, what do you do 2, and 4 persons out there who abide by the law, went to school, stayed in school, graduated, have an education, decide to live an upstanding life, and stay in line when it comes to the law of the land. And they're not rewarded for it. What do you do with a situation like that? How do you explain to young people that they should stay in school when you see that persons who refuse to, by way of trend, what's trending in the society right now, they're the ones who are getting by. They're the ones who are getting the heavy attention. They're the ones the media focus on all day, every day. They're the ones vloggers focus on. They're the ones who make money through hustling, through all sorts of gain, 7 different ways. And I'm not knocking a person hustle, but I am knocking your hustle if it comes at the expense of persons who worked hard for what they actually want in life. What do you say to students who are in school? What do you say to the mass of young people when these are the things that they are seeing? These are the things that are before them. Now, I had many back and forth, and I went a few rounds with many persons because they do not like the way how I speak. Many persons had a problem with the fact that I was intelligent, or I am intelligent. I conduct myself with a great deal of dignity also. Not because I may post raunchy videos on my TikTok, or I may sit in the private comfort of my home and I'm uploading my videos in what they do not like, wearing what they don't like. That doesn't mean I do not conduct myself with self-respect and dignity. And it became a problem for many persons out there. And I realized that in this society, people do not like people who are intelligent. People do not like people who have education. Yet they're sending their kids to school to speak like me. They're sending their kids to school to get opportunity to better themselves, even more than them, the parent. So you send your kids to school because you want them to speak like me. You want them to have opportunities in life. You want them to be better upstanding citizens. But at the same time, you have a problem with me. You don't like the way how I speak because I guess I should have come on social media and behave extremely vulgar like many of those on TikTok and other social media platform. And because I do not behave that kind of way when vlogging, then it becomes a problem for a lot of you people. But at the same time, you want your children to become educated. Now, what I'm seeing in the society is that a lot of people are sending their kids to school so that they can work for people who are of questionable character, persons who are of ill report, because that's what's happening in the society. It's going ass backward insane, and you guys don't get it. People are getting education to work for persons who are of questionable report. And so the society may appear like it's going forward for those who decide to stay on the crooked and cut straight, and those who got an opportunity to create a career for themselves or to go into a business for themselves, to better themselves with some sort of autonomy. It worked for them. But for the mass of the people out there, a lot of them have an education and they are working for persons who are of ill report, meaning people like Isaac Buchanan, people who have done a lot of things that are illegal in the society and were convicted for it more than once. A lot of persons out there are going to school, getting education to work for these people because there was a culture once who put these people on pedestal. And it is championed, it is being pushed and promoted through entertainment. It is being pushed through entertainment. So when you support this type of lifestyle and you support this type of behavior, when you send your children to school, they're going to get an education to go and work for those type of people because those were the persons you put on a pedestal. That's if those children even decide to stay in school the long way and get an education. And that is what is taking place in the society right now. I am not saying that a person should not be rehabilitated. People do not make mistakes. Everybody is not perfect. Everybody have made mistakes, right? Everybody have committed a grave error. Some are irreprehensible. However, when we look into this situation, this is a person that was convicted not once. This is a person who has been convicted not once, but more than once. And when we look into this situation, persons were quick to attack. Persons wanted Roshane Barnett. Persons wanted him dead. Persons wanted him to be beheaded. because they don't believe he should get rehabilitated. They don't believe he should get a chance to be rehabilitated, right? So they call for him, they call for the jugular, they wanted his head by any means. So what happened to giving him a second chance? You guys did not allow it. You guys did not believe in him getting a second chance. But here lies someone who has done his time twice for drugs trafficking. You believe that he should get a second chance. And this is what I speak on constantly with the hypocrisy in the society. Who you like, it's okay for them to make so much error and you sit in the comfort of your home and make an excuse for them. But who you don't like, you want to ostracize them, you want to behead them, you want to take them out of society because it's someone you don't like. You don't believe that the same rule that goes for one person, it should go for the other. Unless it is someone that you like, they must always be excused and there must always be a reason behind their actions and it should always be justified. And this is what I speak on. So I'm questioning, what kind of society are we pushing when you put these type of people on pedestal? What happened to the guy who went to school, abide by the law, went to law school, studied, still abide by the law, and is pursuing a career? Why wasn't he given the same platform or the same opportunity to run in an election for his seat? What's with giving this particular individual that type of opportunity? Why are you guys hell-bent on giving these type of people repeated opportunity? It is killing the integrity of hard work. It is killing the integrity that honesty comes with. It is killing the integrity of what decency comes with. Because questionable people of questionable character and report are constantly given opportunities in life that decent, law-abiding citizens are not given. And when they get into position of power, they use their wits and their smarts to capitalize on those who are illiterate and refuse to get themselves educated. And when they capitalize on it, they feed them and they make them feel empowered, which is farce. It is a farce. They are not empowered. You only give them a chance to have a loud mouth so you can capitalize on their illiteracy. See, wealth is created through human suffering. Wealth is created through human suffering. And so when you want to generate wealth by any means, it's going to come at the expense of human life. It's going to come at the expense of human life, of humanity. People are going to suffer. People are going to suffer dearly. I remember I speak on Angela Stanton, who wrote a book. She was heavy in the politics supporting Trump, and she spoke on a situation wherein she was dating a guy who was very rich. The guy was very rich. She was a mother of, I think, 3 or 4 children at the time. And she was working and she met this guy who was very rich. And each time her rent is due, that's the only money the guy would give her. Just a little to get by. You know why? Because she would constantly come back for more. He wanted to make her parasitic, wherein she had to live off him in order to get her rent paid. Just enough, just the rent. That's what he was covering. He wasn't taking care of anything else because he knew she would come back the following month. And this is what a lot of persons in position of power are doing to the mass of the people who refuse to see themselves above the condition that they are in. They stay in it and they're hell-bent on staying in that condition. It's all about turning trick. Let's turn trick to get some money. Let's turn trick to get some money. And I have this particular party that support me and will help me to hustle and make some money. Not something structured for yourself that you can live on. You can even retire early in, because you don't see the bigger picture. You only see what's right in front of you. You can't see further than that. And the protest was a prime example of people who enjoy capitalizing on the stupidity of others. And you guys think it's funny and you don't care. Where ignorance is bliss, it's folly to be wise. Knowledge is extremely important. And you keep calling yourself ghetto people and ghetto this and ghetto youths and ghetto this. You guys are putting a curse on yourself. Ghetto was never associated with being black. It had absolutely nothing. Ghetto is actually an Italian word, and it's for people who are politically displaced through World War. And the black community have adopted the word and have put it on themselves. And so you are always treated according to how you think and behave, because they know that you're not going to elevate yourself. You're not going to see yourself above the situation that you are in. Someone call you out of your bed and pay you $2,000 or $3,000, or let's say $5,000, I'm being generous, to come out and protest, and you don't question what the protest is about. You don't question what it is about. What if the protest was about RAPING children? You don't know, but you are led to believe something. You don't question it. You don't even know what the FID means. And you think it's funny. You think it's funny. And so I wonder, what is it that is being pushed in the society for people who abide by the law, for people who are law-abiding citizens? And, you people who abide by the law, including myself, we have to blame ourselves, because we sit back and believe that because you're quiet and we cross our T's at our I's and we have poison grease, we're just going to allow all sorts of miscreants to trample over you, trample over us, stamp on us. And we believe that, okay, the police is just there to protect. Sometimes you have to come together and protect yourself. Sometimes you have to come together and do it yourself. Sometimes you have to be militant. You have to be militant. Because the police is not there 24/7. The police is at not one location all day, every day. It's simply not going to be possible. We're living in a society wherein persons who are educated and people who abide by the law are being denied opportunities. But persons who have questionable report because they make connections here and there, and they network, and they come by dollars and stuff like that, it is a way forward for them. And then people who work honestly for their living get corrupted, because you end up have to work for these people. You end up have to be around these people and deal with them all day, every day. And so you're either going to conform to their fundamentals, because it will never be anything positive. It will never be anything positive. It will only take from your left pocket to the right pocket, to the other back pocket, to the front pocket. That's what it will always be. So you will never get where you want to go. So what exactly is it that you're pushing? What do you tell a person who is abiding by the law, who went to school, got an education, and is trying to achieve something in life, when so many negative behavior is being pushed? And I always say the great underclass will never be the ruling class. Anytime the underclass becomes the ruling class, you will have an anarchy. You will have no government. Because stupid people cannot lead wise people. A stupid person cannot lead a wise person. Just because they have a few dollars. So I don't think, within good conscience, that an Isaac Buchanan, or even the JLP man who was caught on video assaulting the woman, I guess she dropped the charges against him. She didn't bother to file a report, or she just do away with it. I believe that, these people should do the honorable thing sometimes and step down. They should not run for a seat unless you can prove within yourself. And I get to understand, yes, that he did his time, he paid his debts to society, Isaac Buchanan. But at the end of the day, we have to call a spade a spade. Why would you give a two-time convict a position where 20 other persons who abide by the law and do what is right did not get? Why would you deny those persons in order to give it to him? This reminds me of all the reality shows that are on TV. People with decency do not get the chance to be on those shows. They're going to rip them apart. So what they do, they give persons who are willing to ratchet the F out and behave like they have no form of decency the opportunity to just unravel, because so many of you are going to sit back and relax and watch it. Because I always say, Black people enjoy seeing a degenerate version of themselves. And so those are the persons who are given the opportunity to launch and make lots of money while a girl who went to Harvard, who went to Howard University, who spent years in college studying, trying to pay off her student loan debt, is not given a chance on any reality TV, whether it be VH1 or Zoo, whatever it is, network, to highlight their career, highlight their intelligence, because they don't want that in the algorithm. They, at all times, they want a degenerated version of the black persons to be seen on TV. So you can continue. You think it's laugh. Everybody's laughing. I don't know what the hell is so funny. Everybody's laughing because it's so great to see you disgrace yourself on TV, not knowing that when you travel to other countries where people do not look like you or celebrate that kind of culture, they're going to see you exactly like what they saw on the television. So my question is, what are we doing in the society? If you're going to give criminals or people who decide not to abide by the law all the opportunities out there and bypass those who went and study hard, those who abide by the law, those who applied a skill unto themselves, skilled workers who are law-abiding citizens, you're going to deny them chances and opportunities. Then what do we do? What do you explain to a student? How do you explain that to a student? How do you explain that to a child? What you're going to do? Beat the child to do homework, to get an education. Say education is the key. They're going to tell you about the next entertainer who doesn't have any, and he got the key. Or the next politician who do this and came out and you know, he's running a political party, he's applying for a seat, or he's running for a seat and hoping to become the victor. How do you explain that? We live in a society, and I always say I'm so sorry for the black community. Sometimes they don't know if they're going forward or backward, up or down, in or out. They don't know if they're going left or right. It's mercurial when you checked it out. And it's a sad situation. There's nothing funny about this. So persons thinking that, okay, it's funny. It's not. It's actually not funny. But that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy your day, and may God bless you. Bye-bye.